Hey, my friends, this week we are finishing up the entire book of Genesis, the very first of the 5 books of Moses. And if you think about it, what is the focus of Sefer Bereshit, of Genesis? We don't really spend a lot of time in this entire book speaking about the development of the nation of the people of Israel. What you have in this book are basically family situations. We start out with Adam and Eve, the first couple, and their sons, who don't, of course, get along very well, Cain and Hevel. We know what happened with them. And then Noach and the flood and his family and how they dealt with that great trauma in their lives. And then finally the birth of the first Jew, Abraham. Avraham and Sarah, the first power Jewish couple, and how they dealt with their children, with Yitzchak and Yishmael, and how difficult it was for Abraham to have to banish his own flesh and blood, his own son Yishmael, from the home. And through Yitzchak, the Jewish offspring continued. Isaac and then Rebekah. Rebekah have their 2 sons, Jacob and Esav, who of course also had their major issues. And then until finally the 12 tribes who come down to Egypt, reunite with each other. And what you really have in this parsha, essentially, is family development. Because before we can become a nation, we first had to be a family. And before we can figure out what we as a nation should be doing and responding to whatever issues and problems affecting our people, we first had to deal with it on a human family level. Because Judaism is all about the family. We developed ourselves from the ground up, one family at a time, until next week's parsha, where we begin Shemot, the book of Exodus, where we start talking about our nation, the people of Israel, of course, coming from Jacob. But it all started as a family. And interesting, Rabbi Golden, one of my teachers, explained so beautifully that what do we do to celebrate our peoplehood? On the very eve of redemption, the night that the Jewish people are going to be taken out of Egypt, what does God command the Jewish people to do? Not to attend any rallies, not to create a declaration of independence, right? Like most nations do when they're about to embark on independence and sovereignty and nationhood. What does the Jewish people do? God commanded every family to take the Paschal offering and to sit and eat it as a family. And to this day, that's how we celebrate our freedom and our nationalism and becoming a people, by sitting down with our families at the Seder. We are as strong as we are because of our family. Right now in Israel, the family is what's holding the Jewish people together. So of course also which is suffering so much every time, God forbid, an Israeli soldier loses their life. It's such a blow to a family, not just to a nation, but to that family, to that brother, to that sister, to that parent, to that sibling. We are a nation of family, and the reason we have been so successful as a nation is because we keep going back to our family values, which, by the way, are difficult and were not always easy to maintain. Look what happened all the way from Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, the first fratricide, the Joseph and the brothers arguing with each other, Esav and Yaakov, one thing after the next. But Sefer Bereshit ends with a heart-to-heart. Listen to what Joseph and the brothers tell each other. Vata, Joseph tells the brothers, Al tira'u anochi achakel lechem, don't be afraid. I'm going to take care of you guys here down in Egypt. Vayinachem otam, and he comforted them. This is after their father Jacob died. Vayidaber alibam, and he spoke to their heart. Joseph and his brothers had a heart-to-heart. And at the end of the day, they were successful as a family, and that's why we are successful as a nation. Shabbat Shalom.